and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another rousing rendition of your favorite podcast about life and business unfiltered, the BREADren podcast. That's BREADren as in B-R-E-A-D, bread, because we always talking about our bread and we always getting bread. And when I say we, I have to include my esteemed and distinguished colleagues, Mr. Deshaun Wells of D. Wells Consulting and Dr. Ajamu Loving, CFP, PhD, and all of the above titles that are due to him out of respect and legality of Loving Consulting LLC. How y'all doing, gentlemen?
What's good, bro?
Doing great.
Bless. It's been a minute, from this setting. Obviously, we communicate outside of this. I do actually know these gentlemen personally. But so we are kicking off season 3 of the BREADren podcast, and we're going to see where this takes us. As usual, in true BREADren fashion, we have come up with a topic, and that's all we've come up with. We have not determined any conversation or anything. But tonight's topic, just to give you a little bit of background, is financial energy, and I'll explain that in a minute. But like we do with BREADren, we got to stay true to our roots. We do partake as we have these conversations. Dr. Levin, I think you said you were drinking beer. Is that what you?
No, I have a beer here as well, but I'm drinking Uncle Nearest 1884 mixed with Coke Zero. That was surprisingly smooth.
That was a great year. 3 years after the illustrious Tuskegee University was founded in 1881. So 1884 is great. You know,
y'all always figure out a way. Don't bring that in there, though.
Hey, it's becoming.
It's all right.
I myself have a healthy portion of Jameson, sipping smooth. What is it? With no ice on nothing? This is neat, right? Is this
neat? No, that's neat. What they call it.
Yeah, neat. I don't be knowing. I just be like, bring me some whiskey.
Yeah, and then put it in a water glass.
Yeah. Pink is out when I sip. Mr. Wells is not partaking because he is in the middle of a quarrel with a certification. He is winning currently, I'm proud to say. So he is trying to keep his heart and his mind clear to be certified in yet another thing. Like I said, these gentlemen are esteemed and distinguished on purpose. Legally, they are certified in things far more advanced than myself. That's why I keep them around.
So this wasn't a Beyonce juice cleanse. I thought that why you wasn't drinking.
Nah, bro.
Hey, but
part of investing.
No, that's actually a far bigger deal. I had to throw that out there. They're trying to keep it nice and jovial, man.
Cheers to a wonderful conversation, bread being dropped and crumbs being picked up by those who need them. Cheers.
I'm sorry, Destiny.
Yeah, it's all good. It's coming.
Nah, I feel like a Hennessy truck just crashed right now, just out of sheer protest.
If that happened, I would be getting off the call, making my way to the nearest truck. Like I would get a call and like on this Netflix series Manifest, someone would just hit me.
Mm-hmm. Hey, while y'all talking, y'all just give me a little bit of time. I will see what we'll be able to do in terms of sponsorships and partnerships and affiliations and things of that sort.
Yeah, man, get me all of the stuff, man.
So stay tuned.
Hey, give me some Under Armour drinking gear. Do they have that?
Under Armour don't even make drinks. You talking about a Hennessy truck?
The new Eve. No, they ain't got. I'm just saying.
This man said Under Armour drinking gear. We talking about getting brand partnerships with spirits. Spirits. We're talking spirits, partnerships and affiliations. Well, like I said earlier, tonight's topic is going to be financial energy, and we're going to talk about transferring, withdrawing, and depositing. I think this season we might get a little bit more into the mental, and in past seasons we would always talk about topics and then always give our tangibles, like we call them, steps to take, ways to achieve what we talked about. So it'll be no different, but we might get a little bit more into the mental of things. So we talking financial energy, transferring, withdrawing, and depositing. So we'll start with this. The law of the conservation of energy states that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, only converted from one form of energy to another. This means that a system always has the same amount of energy unless it's added from the outside. Sounds a lot like finance to me. I don't know how it sounds to you all, but to me, it sounds a lot about finance. Because at first, when Deshaun, when you hit me with the task of creating the topic, because they don't never want to let me just come in here and just be like, let's just go. It's like, at least have a topic. I'm like, all right, here's a topic. And I literally create the topic when you challenge me to create one, because other than that, I'm waiting for the day that y'all just let me come in here completely blind and be like, rabbit out of the hat, let's go. So I created this topic and because I was like, I wanted to talk about energy, but we're brethren, life and business unfiltered. So, I mean, energy in work and in personal is very, very important, especially transferring energies from, taking work energy and transferring it into your personal life and taking personal energy and transferring it to your work life. So that way it plays into it. But then when I read the law of conservation of energy, it sounded a lot like the financial system, like the money system. So I'll reverse it. I'll edit it and say it. The law of conservation of finance money states that money, finance, and can neither be created nor destroyed, only converted from one form of money to another. This means that a system always has the same amount of money unless it's added from the outside. Now, money, can be we're using this as a blanket term for things that hold value. You know, so and if we truly think about it, going high level here, there is a finite amount of quote unquote money in the world. There's an illusion that money is created, but based on the law, it can neither be created nor destroyed, only converted from one form to another. This means that a system always has the same amount unless it's added from the outside. Now that's when it changes meaning for me, where it's like, okay, if there is a finite amount of money or value, the only way that you can change that is if it's from the outside. Now we can go down a whole rabbit hole of what outside truly means, because you got the Federal Reserve Bank, you've got the national banks of all of that. So one of these banks takes their money and puts it into another bank, then that's how you add money to it. But that's a whole thing. But financial energy, let's start with the basics, the base of the energy and just the transferring section. We're talking about transferring, withdrawing, and depositing. And we'll keep it energy focused, but in turn, y'all see where I'm going with this. Y'all know, put the two worlds together. But in terms of transferring energy, and this is something that I know that Doc, you work in education and finance, and then you also outside of that, you still in both arenas you do financial education, but you do it at a collegiate level and also at a corporate level. Deshaun, you are you're in a sense in like sales / education, advising, consulting in terms of finance. Myself, I'm in retail, corporate retail, but at once I was in customer facing. But then everybody's job has this level of stress and this level of energy that's in the place, in the role and in the position. The first question to both of you, and I'll start with you, DJ, is speak about the handling of energy in terms of your job. And then for context, so we know where we're headed with this, we'll talk about the personal energy and how not to let those energies intertwine. Because whatever little bit I know about energies, if you got two little energy balls, they're not supposed to like tap each other, because then you get like an explosion or something. It's like a atom splitting or something like that. So so that my first question, the first point that I want to get at is the atmosphere of energy that is created in your roles, and how do you put on the scientific, quote unquote scientific aspect and handle that energy.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, like you said, in my day to day, I'm in a corporate setting, right? But my job is to be out with clients. And so that it does two things for me. Number one, I have to bring a certain level of energy to the table so that I set the tone of quote unquote control the temperature in the rooms that I'm in, right? And so if I'm going to be the thermostat or the thermometer, I need everyone to feed off me. And so that puts me in a situation where number one, I need to have the right amount of debits, quote unquote, in my energy account so that there can be withdrawals made from it. And then I'm focused on building relationships with people that are going to turn around and deposit some of those things back into me. So I'm not having insufficient funds in terms of energy, if that makes sense, right? And
hold on. Because ladies and gentlemen, this man just took, oh my goodness. Oh man. This is why we do this. Honestly, I'm being real with you. This is why we do this, because you just literally took my metaphor out of my brain and put it in such a. I want you to say it again. I want to play it back, but I want you to say it again as you can, because you said you want to control the energy and have enough of the energy deposit. You needed you needed enough energy in there. Say it again.
I run it back, Turbo.
There we go.
So again, one of the things that I have to do is we talk about the temperature in the room. My job is to control that temperature or the level of energy in the room. So I don't want it to be too hot, too cold, or too high or too low. So I know that people are feeding off me. They're taking their cues from me. So when I walk in the room, I have to have the proper amount of funding in terms of my energy, right? So if I have an energy budget, I need it to be at a certain level because I know that some people are going to take from it, which means there's going to be some debits that are coming from this energy budget. But then consequently, my goal is to build relationships with people that are willing to also make deposits back into me so I don't have insufficient funds in terms of energy. The reason why that's important for me is because that creates a work-life balance, right? So I'm not bringing that negative energy home, right? Because it also plays into what you talk about from a relationship perspective on the home front. When you bring work home in a negative way, it just lends itself to you debiting someone else's account repeatedly, right? So whether that be your friends, your family, whomever, they're running on an energy budget too. But if you flip this thing on its head and you really look at it from a financial perspective, this is really what your financial picture looks like. Are you expending too much energy or money on the wrong things? Do you have too much going out in areas that are not quote unquote investment related to make your money grow or work for you so that you're bringing other things in? So I want things not necessarily to be a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio for me, but I don't want to get into trading my energy for 3-for-1, 4-for-1s, where I'm the one always expending energy, or I'm the one always spitting out money, spewing out money, and I don't have any balance. So even as it relates to like protecting your energy or quote unquote keep that same energy, if you want that balance not to dip below a certain level, you're going to need to be able to keep that same energy, meaning you need to balance things. And everything starts with balance. Balance is the key. So you got to balance that energy budget.
Gee whiz. That's going to do it for us here at the BREADren Podcast. I'm sorry, Doc, you didn't get to say nothing profound tonight.
He said it. He said it all.
Deshaun just said it all, and he just did it all. And I think that was maybe like 5 minutes. So that's the beginning of season 3, ladies and gentlemen. It's been real. Look, it's the shortest episode ever.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do, Doc. So Deshaun kind of hit on the point of being somewhat of being aware of your energy consumption. And in terms of, especially in in this day and age, we're talking about an actual energy, power. People are very energy conscious. Turning off appliances, getting LED bulbs. The whole thing, solar panels, different. And trying to be conservative and being sustainable. And you being the personal finance professional that you are, speak a little bit about that as well. Is understanding what your quote unquote energy consumption and in both terms, in terms of your actual energy that you're putting out and receiving in, and also on the financial front, your financial energy, what do you put out? Because also in terms of financial energy, what comes to my mind is just what do you exude, and not in terms of the flashiness of, oh, I have money, but just your financial energy that you exude in general. If you get what I'm saying, but I'll let you. I'll give you the same bait that I gave Deshaun and see if y'all just.
Oh man, I think that your point and Destrian's points, especially, were really good ones. When you start to think about money in general, money is a point in the evolution of people relating their work to getting something in return from somebody else, right? And so it all comes from bartering, where you know, I might be a baker, you might be a butcher, you know,
butter, baby.
Right? Yeah, you need bread, I need steaks. Come together, we make sandwiches. You know, this makes everybody better off. But it's all somebody bringing energy that they have, right? They're bringing their own personal energy, their own know-how, and there's a financial value, even no matter what, all the way back to the caveman days, whether it was completely assigned or not, or an efficient marker of how valuable they were. There was a value set on what they did. And so the efforts that you put out there, you know, most of us peg ours to a paycheck typically nowadays, right? And that is a proxy for what it is that you're supposed to be bringing in value to whatever company that you're working with, right? And obviously they probably are trying to get more out of you than your salary is paying. Otherwise, you know, you're not really you're not really a solid endeavor long term if you're costing the company more than you're bringing in, right? So at the end of the day, when you think about it, the whole point of an economic system in general is to allow people to operate by some set of mutually beneficial rules. Now, if you know the rules and you know how to play the game, then you can get ahead. If you don't know the rules, you'll be among the people who aren't as good at playing the game, and you'll suffer. But the game, nonetheless, really does boil down to your own energy that you're bringing to the table, and how well you can do that and translate that to some sort of financial means that's going to fuel the other things that you want in life.
So Doc, when he talks about the fact that the whole aspect of it not being able to be created nor destroyed, I want to specifically focus on like the destroyed piece, right? Because I think when we think about creating wealth, we're not creating money. We're capitalizing on ideas and turning them into opportunity, and that turns into money that's already in rotation, so to speak, or in this ecosystem.
So but is it like you've got an entirely new idea drawing sometimes entirely new dollars? And I'm just saying not every analogy works perfectly, right? And so when we talk about financial energy, the dollars we use, you know, can fluctuate, but the actual productivity behind them is a function of what everybody is bringing at one time in the United States or wherever it is. Like it's a function of the productivity of those people.
So check this. So check this, because I see your point, but then to reinforce the point of it, you know, it can neither be created or destroyed. Every single person on this earth has some type of value and potential far beyond what they will ever, you know, whatever they will ever be paid in terms of, you know, a job, let's, you know, so to speak. So it's like, you know, Destrian is worth priceless in terms of untapped potential, tapped potential, and you add all that together. But no company can ever know, you know, nobody can ever afford that. But now when you know, it's like we know that there's a finite amount of gold in the world. And so up until a certain point before diamonds have intrinsic value, but you know, precious metals and things of that nature, there's a finite amount of it. Obviously, we've created copies and replacements and things of that nature. But there's a finite amount, and even though there's a value assessed to what we currently have, that price and that value changes based on, just like the price of gold. Like,
well, it's based on how many people are in the system, and it's also
exactly.
based on so many other factors. So if I go print more money, the value of the money in the system goes down. So in essence, you have more paper in the system, but the value remains the same. It's just more people passing around, and you really get to see that when if you're a trader, for example, in my business, if I'm trading and I'm trading on spreads, you go ahead and flood the market with more volume, and I'll show you how you make money, because I'm going to capture that spread. And you got to be careful with people like that, because when you talk about energy, those are energy vultures. They're always capturing the spread, whether it's a downtrend, they're going to catch you on the downside. Whether you're going up, they want to catch you on the upside too. It doesn't matter. They're always in a position to take. So you have to be careful with that. Exactly.
The energy hogs.
What I was specifically trying to get to was the fact that I think sometimes we think about creating wealth. We think we're going out creating, money. Wealth is a concept. It's something that's abstract, right? It's not a hard dollar amount. It is a concept based on value that you accumulate over time. And I think we often think about rich. Now, people can define rich as an amount of money, but wealth is a state of being, so to speak. You are a wealthy person. You've put yourself and your family in a situation that's generational. That's much different. And when we think about things being created or destroyed, I wanted to frame that in the context of, look at the new forms of currency that are coming out. So these things are they're being created, but they're taking away from some of the more mundane ways of exchanging or doing the barter system, as Dr. Loving was talking about. So do you have more money in the system? Not necessarily. You have more opportunity in a variety of ways, so to speak.
So here's this other little side portion to that, because I know you kind of alluded to crypto, is when we talking about the destroy portion of this, this quote unquote law, is that they burn cryptos. It's a lot of the cryptos, the different cryptos. There's a process called burning, where they in essence destroy them to balance. Not necessarily increase it. They consider it like a balance, because it's this the whole ecosystem of crypto. But they don't consider doing it for the increase of value. They do it to create that balance in the market, to where it's like, if we're something. I'm not versed in it 100%. I just understand basis of it. But we having this this broad conversation, and we're comparing it to energy and stuff. So I just wanted to throw that tidbit in there. They do in essence consider themselves to destroy.
Well, even with that, so it's just like, you can't throw money. I can't throw money away. I can lose some money, but I can't. Money goes somewhere. It either goes back into the system, or it's generating wealth for someone else. So when we talk about this transfer, that's the key word. This transfer is happening all around us every day. So whether you're conscious of it or not, you are a part of something that either you are the person that's always sending this energy or these dollars out, or you're going to find a way to put yourself in a situation where you have some yin and yang going on, where, I'm giving some money out or some energy out, but I'm also investing it in places where I know it's going to come back to me with a return on my investment. And I think that's the thoughtfulness that we have to start going into things with, like, to make it real life. What you're saying makes so much sense to me. If I only knew I had a certain amount of energy to spend in a day, man, I'm gonna think about that so critically and strategically, because I know I got to make it through the end of the day, but I know all my responsibilities. We don't think about money in that way. We go from point A to point B, and we'll figure it out. If you knew you were going to run out of gas,
Right.
And you knew exactly when you would never do it. Well, most of us wouldn't, but some
Right,
of
because
us
when that light come on, I know I got 15. Look,
you
depending
got
on the
15
car.
more miles, huh?
Hey, look, depending on the car, some of them cars say 30, so I already know I got 30 more. So, but you bring up a good point in terms, and I want to throw this to you, Doc, and get your perspective because, especially with the personal aspect, the personal, um, when we're talking about energy, and I want you to talk a little bit about operating out of energy depletion.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people operate out of, and we're talking energy and financial energy. We talking about both of them because there are people who go into a space with no energy for that space, but they still operate in that space.
Yeah.
And it could be, and and energy is not even being transferred. It's like a light bulb that's not burning as brightest, but it ain't dead yet.
Yeah, man.
But it's on. It's on, but it ain't really illuminating because it's not enough energy there.
Mm-hmm.
Something's clogging it up. And we talking about in terms of financial energy and actual your
Yeah.
energy. So speak on operating out of this a depleted state. Because in terms of energy, both in both aspects of what we're talking about, we also want to talk about sustainability. Destrin brought up that point, or in terms of rich versus wealthy. Rich is I shine bright like a diamond, boom, but them bulbs burn quick. Are you
Yeah.
sustainable like an LED that can last for 5-10 years? So speak on that. The energy, operating in depletion.
Yeah. And that's one of the tough things that I think anybody has a hard time with this. Like, you don't want to go through tough times just in general, right? But at the same time, it's even worse when you like going through tough times after other tough times, after other tough times. Plus, you got to work. Plus, you just feel like it's so much stacked on top of you. And if you have children, you always have obligations to them, to other people sometimes in your life. And so, in general, you can just feel beaten down, like, and desperate sometimes if you're not careful. And so you have to have outlets for yourself. You can't let these people get to you to the point that they become drains on your energy or make your day horrible, make your life horrible. You have to like figure out ways to move around that, whether it's at the job and there's somebody that's like consistently negative, it doesn't really bring anything to the table. You have to figure out how to navigate and manage the relationship with that individual so it's not so caustic and costly to you. That's the deal. At the end of the day, all of this stuff that you're doing is not so much about making anybody else's life pleasant. It's about managing your own energy, managing your own resources, your own finances in ways that best benefits you. But it does, to some degree, involve the way in which you interact with other people, right? And so when you talk about your energy being depleted, I think oftentimes, sure, it can come from the normal work that you're doing where you just can get exhausted over time. But a lot of it comes from the interactions that we have with people. And I would encourage you to accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative as much as you possibly can with people.
Did you just reference a movie? Isn't that in a song? Eliminate the negative, accentuate the positive.
I feel
Man,
like
that's off
it's
the
crept
Jungle Book.
right.
That's
It's
off the
crept
Jungle
its
Book. That's
way
part
in.
of Bare Necessities.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bare
I've learned a
Necessities.
lot from Balu.
Hey, look.
Like,
Man,
Look, you
I
better
mean,
drop.
man,
You better drop them childhood nuggets of wisdom that we
right,
didn't pick up as children.
right.
Look.
Balu.
It's all about the bare necessities, y'all.
Right, man. Don't let these people get you off because what happens is you start thinking this regular little stuff is life or death, man. Start like fighting and scrapping and ready to die over dumb shit. And that is a problem for a lot of people when we talk about financial depletion or any other energy depletion, but especially financial. Man, your pocket's empty. Now you mad because you broke. Now somebody come and step on your one thing you got, your white Air Force Ones, and just smash mud all into your shoes.
So is it
now
safe
you ready
to
to catch a felony for what? For something that.
So is it safe to say that your financial energy really has a large, it determines a good bit of your actual energy?
Man, it can impact so much of what you do because being broke can put you at the end of your rope. And when you get there, when somebody comes at you the wrong way, you always got the wrong answer to their question. Like you always in a position where, like, okay,
like they say on Clubhouse, gems being dropped. Being broke will have you at the end of your rope. Bars.
That sounds like something from Good Time, don't it?
Yeah, dang.
Hey, look, that's a reference from Sanford the Son episode. I don't remember. That gotta be. But
it's gotta be from somewhere in there.
It's got that look. That came straight out of a mouth of somebody in the era of jive turkeys. Being broke, I have you at the end of your rope. Show you right.
Now you got to say Jack at the end of that. Yeah, Jack.
And then do that jive hand thing like this. Man. Throw your hand behind you.
Slip me some skin.
Talking about that, boy. Yeah.
Slip me. Give me 5 on the black hand side.
It's quite the error.
I'll catch you later, Jack.
No.
But you gentlemen have done phenomenal. Helping me hit these 3 points. If I was a preacher, you two would be my ghostwriters for my sermons.
Well, that's all right. Do I get to ride in the Bentley?
Look, after we get done, I have a conversation for you gentlemen to have, and it involves Bentley. So,
okay.
So we talked about transferring, we talked about withdrawing, we touched at depositing. So here's now the question, because the law states the system always has the same amount of energy unless it's added from the outside. How do we deposit energy into ourselves? Mm-hmm. Because we can often, create these scenarios like, go outside and, just take a break. But we talking energy. We're electric. When our heart stops, they use electricity to get us back going. We are actual energy. We are walking energy in every essence of it. And I think we have to understand that. But how do I deposit energy into myself?
Yeah.
How do I get myself that stimulus? Whether it's stimulus in terms of financial, like that stimuli, we talking electric energy. How do I do that?
So I think this is the human element thing that we talk about all the time, right? So you got to have good people around you. Good people bring good energy and they help recharge you. We're just like batteries. You probably will notice the more active you are, the more energy you have. So it seems counterintuitive, but it's really the truth. The more active you are, the more energy you'll have. Go do a workout. You're tired. You feel like you've expended or extended yourself, but as soon as you shower, you sit down, you just almost feel rejuvenated. There's something about the natural things in this world that just do something to you. Water, the sun, being happy, like finding yourself in a happy space, just your mental, emotional health. That also helps recharge you when you're not constantly trying to figure life out. And that's why these decisions have such an impact on you. So one of the overarching things I will say about reinvesting or giving yourself a little bit more energy, making better decisions, because that all adds up to the sum of the stressors in your life.
Yeah. Man, I love all that. I'd just add that you can actually create a connection between yourself and the earth in general. Like, he about to get all professory on me, but like as your body has electrical current and the ground itself, you know how they talk about grounding electrical current? Well, there are those who think, and I'm one of the people who practices this, that you can get energy and healing properties and nutrients from the ground itself, and just putting your bare feet on the ground can be helpful. Just use 5 minutes a day. I just go out there, just put my bare feet in the ground, you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, just as a asterisk on that, Dr. Levin's backyard has like an Olympic-sized pool in it, so he not just going, he not just going in this little miniature little piece of grass. This man's backyard is large.
This is a nice backyard, but I'm just saying, like,
that's how wealthy people talk. I got a nice backyard. Small water park.
Just a little pool and spa.
Yeah. That's wealth. That's wealth. Regular folk like myself come back and be like, yeah, he got a hot tub and a pool. Be like, no, sir, that is a built-in. That is not. We call that a spa. It's not a hot tub. That didn't come from Sam's.
Those are nice too. What were we talking about? My goodness, I lost my doggone subject, man.
My bad. You were talking profoundly.
He was grounding himself.
Yeah, we were talking about grounding.
Yeah, it's just one of the ways where you're like, okay. I'm just saying, like, you got to think about it. Your body is an instrument. You want to make sure you give it all of the things that it needs, but you also have to give yourself time to sleep, rest, create, and that's where you're recharging. In a lot of ways, you're not expending much energy. You're sleeping, but you're gaining energy. And during that time of rest is where you get the energy that you will need to do newer and better and more important things going forward the next day. So that rest is where you start to deposit energy, and you have to give yourself that effectively in order to do what you need to do and do it well.
Now, Doc, look, let's flip it right back to the financial aspect of things. Sometimes you need to give that account a rest too.
Yeah.
Just put the card down. Put these stop swiping. Get off Amazon. And it's a financial detox, if you want to call it that. Like, just take your time, and you don't have to have a 360 or 180 today. But man, just a small detox. If it's something that you know you're doing that's really habit forming, you need to try to take a step back. If it's coffee every day, get it 3 times a week, and then put those savings up. And sometimes that recharge comes in the form of seeing the waste. Like, oh wow, I was really doing that, and that can cultivate a lifestyle change that can supercharge or lead to supercharging your financial future. So that's more coming in than it is going out, and you're transferring that within yourself. That's an ecosystem shift right there within yourself.
And I think that plays a big part of, when we're talking of energy consumption, whether it be financial energy or energy in general, being aware of your consumption, because a lot of us are unaware of our consumption. I know there's always the meme of, stop drinking Starbucks and you can become rich. And it's like, you know what? Honestly, no, you won't. Like, let's be real. Stopping drinking Starbucks ain't. Especially if Starbucks is that thing that gives you your energy. But like Deshaun said, if you were spending an exorbitant amount of money, I guarantee you could find. Basically, I guarantee you most people that drink Starbucks can find something else in their life that is consuming a lot more energy, financial energy, than their daily coffee. Because especially, if you work in a certain environment, you need your coffee. That's the thing that, you need it. Obviously, you can find alternatives, green tea, working out or something like that. But, all of that's going to come with a cost to it. But, stopping drinking Starbucks ain't. So, but being aware of your actual energy consumption to know, like, oh, hey, I'm paying, I got 2 or 3 of these streaming services on auto pay that's costing $30-$40 a month that I'm not using at all. Turn it off. Just like, right around, I think it was probably right around the mid to late 90s. I remember that's when, energy consumption started, being big, and Louis the light bulb, and, they had all of the people, and the actual energy hogs was like, oh, change your insulation, get new windows, things of that nature, just being aware. And they started putting the yellow stickers on appliances to let you know how much it's costing you in energy, and LED light bulbs in that sense, But everybody, you know, at that point, now people are aware of their energy consumption in terms of, you know, actual electrical energy with appliances and things of that nature. And I think we as people also have to be aware of our energy consumption. Like, what is taking up so much of my financial energy? What is this job taking so much of my energy that I have no energy to give at home? Or is home taking so much of my energy that I don't have enough to give at work? Where's my balance? How do I balance? But the only way that I can do it is I have to be aware, and that's where things like budgets come in place. But even outside of a budget, which is a form, you know, in a lot of cases it can be a form. You know, you come to somebody like a Dr. Loving or a Deshaun Wells, because Dr. Loving is a certified financial professional. That's why the CFP, that's what that stands for. Deshaun Wells has licenses and investments and soon to be alternative investments and things of that nature, where he is qualified, certified, and stamped and proved to, you know, talk about these things with you, where they can give you a form that says, hey, here's your budget, how much you spend on entertainment, clothing, food, those things. But when we're talking about our actual energy, our physical energy, there's no form for that. That takes that that introspect, if you will, where it's like, okay, let me determine where my energy consumption is coming. Is this job stressing me to the point that I have nothing left to give outside of my job? Yeah. So now I need to focus my attention on this job to say, okay, I maybe need to divert some energy to figuring out to get rid of this, Yeah. And sometimes that source of, powerful energy consumption is like, you know what, I got to cut this off now. Like, dang, my light bill is astronomical. Turn all the lights off right now. We gotta come to a hard stop right now, because this is taking way too much, and we about to have a blackout. I love the fact that we can talk about this in an energy point, especially with a lot of the things that's going on in the world right now. Praying for Louisiana and parts of the Gulf Coast, they have no power. And out in the West, where they're having wildfires, they're being limited because of the wildfires on their energy consumption. Texas was going through, Texas and parts of the West so hot that you gotta cut back on your energy consumption. So we see it, and it's a very real thing. But I like the way that we're able to talk about it, financial energy and energy at the same time, because like you stated, Doc, like your financial energy will really determine your energy. Like if you got good financial energy, you good. Yeah. If you wealthy, you good. Right. You know what I'm saying? Who was it saying? Minus the bullshit, life's great. Like, we good. Right. I got enough money. I'm not worried about my bills getting paid. Right. I'm not worried about my children being straight, outside. Once I'm dead and gone, I'm not even worried about my grandchildren. I'm not even worried about my great grandchildren at this point. I'm mentally, my mental energy is good. Yeah. But if my financial energy is not in that good place, my energy here, because obviously if my financial energy is at a certain level, my energy I got to raise my energy to be like, yo, I got to get this money. I got to get this bread. Yeah. And now your energy is consumed by that. Yeah. Where, it's fight or flight. Yeah, and I'm not, I don't know that everybody creates and is their most effective under those circumstances, right? You don't want to put yourself in a position where everything is do or die, fight or flight. What we gonna do? Like, that's why doing some sensible financial planning early on can save you a whole lot of heartache in the end, a whole bunch of headache all the time, right? Like, I wonder sometimes when I watch people do things, and I pay, you'll have them in your life too, where you see folks making the same mistake over and over again. And it's like, well, why would you continue to do this, considering the cost that it laid on you the first time? But a lot of times, folks help them out, and there's always an excuse and everything else. And then what happens? Oh, boom, right back again. And to the point of, keeping the same energy, it's real tough sometimes when you're in a bad rut, right? People just continue
continue to do the same things. And I think sometimes if you're in a better place, you look down to the person in the rut, you're like, oh, I could probably pick them up. And you have to recognize that at some point when you jump down in the rut to pick them up, you stay down there long enough, you basically in the rut. You're not you're not in the position of lifting up and all the rest of that. And I say that because what happens is people think that they can save people when they can't. You know, you can't. You can't save people. People have to choose to save themselves. I mean, I'm not saying that literally. Like if somebody's drowning and they go limp, then yeah, pull them out. But what I'm saying in terms of life, in terms of their own decisions, nah, you can't decide what somebody else is going to do. You only get to make decisions for yourself. And it's frustrating as hell to watch sometimes because you be sitting there like, man, come on, man. It's like the third time you've gone through this. Why are you continuing to do this to yourself? If this was a television show, they would cancel it for being unrealistic because nobody would do this again. But here we are, right? And that's how sometimes we are as people, man. We sometimes make the same mistakes over and over again, waste the same amount of energy, even more energy. And if it's nothing that you gain from this conversation, other than this today, recognize that energy is precious, right? You don't get an infinite amount of energy. You just don't. That's not to say that you can't get bored, you can't sleep better, you can't have an incredible muse, you can't have a time where you just have unexplained productivity that's just blessed. All of those things can happen. But at the end of the day, what you produce is going to be a function of what it is that you brought to the table to get the job done. And if you aren't disciplined and you can't handle the resources that you've been given, there's going to be some level of squandering. And you may not reach where you ought to have gone to, or the levels that you could have gone to, because, you didn't do what you should have done. And I think to everybody, I don't care who you are, we can admit at least to one time where we didn't do what we should have done, and we would be better off if we had done what we should have done.
Listen,
I think that's a mark of an intelligent person.
You out here only one to admit to one. Let me meet you. Teach me the way that you did it one time and you never did it again. Please, because look, as a real person, you've done it at multiple stages and levels in life.
But you see these people who never want to admit and act like, everything that happened was just some tragedy that befell me. Now, most of the tragedies that I have experienced were self-inflicted tragedies. The stuff that cost me time, money, effort, and anguish, mostly dumb decisions that I did to me. And the best thing that I could do in regard to those decisions is recognize that I was the one that made them, right? Because then okay, well, you did this. It's not as though you are cursed or something happened that's out of your control. Now, make better decisions. Pretty simple.
So since you heavily weighed in on mistakes, I'm going to go ahead and say this is not season 3 of the BREADren podcast. This will be season 5 of the BREADren podcast. Because you talked about desperation, and I wanted to reference the Operation Desperation episode, which is in fact season 4, episode 5 of the BREADren podcast. So take a listen to that. This is season 5 of the BREADren podcast.
Season 5? Is that how we got them broken?
Season 5. We are 5 episodes away from 50.
Man, we need to do something. We should get a cake, man, or something like that.
Look. Production will work on getting a cake for us for our 50th episode.
It could be one of those digital cakes. That's all right.
But I want to thank you, gentlemen, for a great conversation, which obviously will open the doors for season 5. I like the way we started it off. So thank you. But I definitely, want to do the due diligence. I'll start with you, Doc. In terms of closing remarks on financial energy and energy in general, let's talk, closing thoughts on the transferring, the withdrawing and the depositing of energy and this law of energy that we abide by, quote unquote.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I should I always lead with the thought that people are more important than things.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is the longest that it has taken us to get to this point, but by golly, we got here. People over things. Follow Dr. Ajamu Loving on all social media at Dr. AJAMULOVING.
Thank you. Thank you very much. But, when we start to remember the movie The Matrix, and the machines were trying to draw energy because the sun had been blotted out. And the only place that they could draw energy from is the bodies of human beings. And that's what the whole thing was. They had them all farmed, and they were giving them their own memories and thoughts that can get them to continue to generate electrical impulses as their hearts beat and their brains thought and their bodies moved. And they used those electrical impulses to fuel their entire alien machine world, right? That right there, I think, is a microcosm of life in general. I think that picture of you being used as a battery is a good view to some degree on how you can be used by people in your life in ways that make you feel like you're not even alive, which I think was a major problem associated with the whole thing, is that their lives weren't real and they weren't denied actual free will. And so when we start to talk about your financial freedom and your financial fuel that you have and your financial energy, this is what leads you to being free, to being able to decide what you want to do. Do I want to work tomorrow, or do I want to play tomorrow? Do I want to live here tomorrow, or do I want to live there tomorrow? Am I in a position where if things go badly in the United States, I feel comfortable moving somewhere else? Or am I in a position where I've got to stay where I am because I don't have the means necessary to move where I might need to go? These are existential issues. And so when we're talking about your financial energy, you have to be intentional with it. Sure, you have to balance it, and you have to be in a position and put yourself in a position where you have the best opportunities to win going forward. And recognize the stakes can be high if you're frivolous with it. You got to know that, the world isn't going to take care of you. You have to put yourself in a position where you can take care of yourself. And I think when you do that, you'll be surprised at how well you're able to live up to your expectations and how great you are at taking care of yourself. So that's all I have on that.
Most definitely. Desher, now pass it to you.
Yeah, so I can be relatively brief because Doc did a fantastic job summing it up. I think for me, it just really comes down to a few basic things, right? Number one, the concept of protect yourself at all times is just like a boxing match. So, you want to protect yourself at all times. You want to protect those deposits that you're making. And it's like playing offense and defense. The deposits are the offense, but you definitely need to have your guards up for the people who are looking to make withdrawals. And you need to make sure that those withdrawals are worthy, right? So if you're going to take that punch or expel that energy, make sure it's something that's worth it. And then as relates to you, where you're placing your energy and your value, again, protecting yourself, make sure it's a reasonable place where you're putting this so that whatever comes back to you is positive. Because remember, what you put out, you do get back. And that is a core function of keeping that same energy, so to speak. So I hope tonight has been good for somebody. I hope it's metaphorically spoken to you in some type of way, shape, form, or fashion. But it's good to be back. We've missed y'all. We look forward to season 3.
Season 5. I know you multitasking right now, so you might not have heard me. Yeah, this is I made a mistake and said season 3.
I'm trying to go with you, man.
I know. Look. I have to retract my previous statements in the beginning of the episode. This is season 5 of the BREADren because Doc said Doc triggered the thought. Doc mentioned like operating out of desperation. I was like, we have an episode, Operation Desperation. What? Let me go look at that and see so I can reference it for the people. And I looked at it and I was like, and it's like Operation Desperation, season 4, episode 5 of the BREADren podcast. So yeah, this is season 5, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, we this will make 4 episodes until we hit 50. Doc wants a cake, so we'll figure it out. Um, but I said it before and I'll say it again. I want to thank my illustrious colleagues for always embarking on this journey with me. From when we started this, it's always been this super organic, super fluid uh, symbiosis of the meeting of the minds. I don't even know if those words go together in that sense, but they're gonna go together today. So I'll close with this: protect your neck, protect your energy at all costs. And we talking financial energy and energy in general. You have to protect it. There are no exposed wires in your homes. All of your wires are insulated. It's for a reason. Avoid the energy hogs. Be aware of your energy consumption. Take an energy budget as just like you would do a financial budget. We talking about financial energy and energy in general. And I love that they're intertwined and you know, enter and like they can mean the same thing. They're heavily correlated. Your financial energy is heavily correlated with your overall energy. Like we said, if you got high financial energy, if you're wealthy, your overall personal energy should be, most of the times, is good. Now, there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy, but that's another episode. Be sustainable. Understand and be aware of where your energy is being consumed, where you have heavy consumption. Figure out that balance. DJ talked about it. Being sustainable is finding that balance. All right. Transfer, withdrawing, and deposit. Be a battery in your own machine. Doc hit on it. Doc hit on it at the end. Right at the end where he said, look, you could be really taking your energy, being a battery for somebody else's machine. And that could be the difference between, being sustainable and being depleted. But the only way you can do that is, being aware of your energy consumption. Take care of the conduit. The conduit being you. The conduit being us. The conduit being me. Take care of the conduit. Take care of the conduit. Take care of the conduit. We are walking, living, breathing energy. We must take care of the conduit. Financial energy and energy in general all depends on us taking care of the conduit. I'll say it again. Take care of the conduit. We are the conduits. If your wires are frayed, what we call it, you got a short. There's a short somewhere because you're getting a little bit of power, but you ain't getting enough. There's a short somewhere. Take care of the conduit. Protect your neck. Protect your energy. And be sustainable. That's going to do it for us here at the BREADren Podcast. We appreciate you all for embarking on these journeys with us. You can follow us on all social media at BREADren Pod. That's BREADren, spelled like bread, because we always talking about our bread. We always getting bread. Website coming soon. Merch coming soon. If y'all feel like supporting us, but we like supporting you. We do this. We do this to make sure that people get positivity. We deposit energy right now. I like the way season 5 is starting off, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it because I do this as much for y'all. We do this as much for y'all as we do it for ourselves. So, yeah, we depositing energy right now. But deposit ain't nothing really but a transfer, right? Because we all got it. We all got it. Even when we ain't got it, sometimes some of us got overdraft protection. Huh? Some of us ain't being charged ATM fees. I'm talking financial energy and energy in general. by this point in the episode, you should catch the metaphors and the analogies. I hope you do. We love y'all, and ain't nothing you can do about it. That's going to do it for the BREADren podcast, the start of season 5. We love y'all, and peace.